Okay, and we're live at the Chinese Cultural Community Center in Scarborough with the Scarborough Quanfa Institute. Did I say it correctly, or correct me, please, if I'm wrong?
STQI, so
STQI.
Shaolin Temple Quanfa Institute, Scarborough.
Okay. Scarborough. Okay, and we're sitting here with Barron Chang, who's certified as a Shaolin monk. Is that correct?
I'm not
as
a
well?
monk, no, I'm just a Shaolin disciple.
Disciple, okay. And how long have you been a disciple for?
Geez, now 7 years, I think.
7 years.
7 years.
Okay. And I think that's the first thing that surprised me. I think when I came to your workshop and you were teaching Kung Fu form, technique, I had asked you how long you had been doing it for. And you mentioned, I think, was it
2007 is when I started.
2007. Because I think a lot of people have the impression that you have to be in this since maybe you're very young and, spend lots of hours in mastery. But the level at which I saw you perform, I mean, I haven't seen you personally at a tournament level, but just for the class, I thought your technique was amazing. It was flawless. You had good control of it, and you achieved that in such little time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So I think it's comforting for people to know if they're interested in the art, they don't have to spend 20, 30 years to achieve some level of mastery, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. So I started later in life, later than the kids.
Okay.
I think the kids will start like single digits. I think the youngest that we have in our school is around 3.5.
Okay.
But traditionally, the kids go into the temple. They'll be dropped off at a really young age.
Okay.
Some of them like against their will.
Yeah, for sure.
But they start when they're really pliable and flexible, and they can be molded into that perfect shape. But for the North American market, obviously, we can't push our kids into that kind of environment at that intensity from such a young age.
Yeah.
So you'll see like a lot of, teens is probably when they get more passionate, but mostly in the 20s and 30s is when people actually get more self-directed towards something like this.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring up because I've got young children, and I noticed when they were babies, they can move themselves into different forms, and it doesn't hurt them. Whereas for me, it might break an arm or something like that. So that pliability is important. So if you catch them when they're young, like you're saying, then it's an easier time to develop their technique, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's amazing. So you said you're a disciple. So who's your master?
My master is Master Shi Guosong.
Okay.
So he is a 34th generation Shaolin monk,
Okay.
and he's from the Shaolin Temple in China. He's from the Temple Guard division, I guess you call it. So It's very traditional and it's focused towards more practical and applicable motions.
Okay.
So there's also a different division now, the more like visually appealing, I guess, group. So then those people are the ones that you'll see touring around doing shows and stuff like that. It's still very athletic, but the motions might be a little more exaggerated for stuff that looks good on film or on stage or something like that.
Correct.
So so our background is more practical and traditional from our school.
And then did he give you a name, you were saying?
Yeah, so my name is Shi Chang Chuan. So Shi just means like, I guess, master level. And then Chang is the generation. So everyone in the 35th generation of our branch is Chang. And then Chuan is my individual name. So that it means like to manifest or pass along information. So I'm supposed to be in this generation to, pass our studies off to the next group.
Okay, that's amazing. So is that something you chose, that third name, or did your master choose it for you? Or
our master chose. So when he takes a disciple, he'll choose a name that he feels kind of reflects your character.
Okay.
So one of my brothers is Xing, which means heart, because he has a lot of heart. He's actually in Montreal, and he drives from Montreal to Markham every once in a while. So he's really dedicated, because that takes what,
5 hours.
5 hours to come up, and he'll come up. He's got family too, so it's a big commitment for him to be coming and making that drive. And then so not only the drive, but he works really hard, and he has his own students in Montreal, and they, you can see from the results that they get, they put in a lot of effort and time. They're really focused on what they do. So like we have another disciple, Dao. So it just kind of means I think it means like ultimate or something like that. So like that he represents the ultimate, or he strives towards the ultimate guess, achievement within the forms or all the teachings. So he's trying to pass along the whole package of mentality. And then the fourth person who came in with us at that the disciple ceremony, his name was Zhi, as in straight. So he's very straight line, level-headed. He always like memorizes like every single detail, how the perfect action is supposed to be from what someone's teaching him. So the master will tell him something, and then I'll be doing it, and then he'll say, "Oh, do you remember this detail? It's supposed to be like that," and I will totally have forgotten. But he memorized these things. He's like an encyclopedia because he's really straight line. He keeps all these details in his head that I'll forget.
Very analytical.
Yeah.
I like that concept because we name our children, and then sometimes I don't think they're expected to live up to what the name means, but their character can sometimes grow divergent from what the name is. But exactly. Here your master essentially is reading you,
right,
and then giving you a name according to that characteristic, right?
Exactly.
Is the reading part, is that something do you think he just picks up on, or is he meditating for that, or?
It's probably both, right? So he does meditation daily, so
okay.
I'm sure he's also thinking about things as well. But when he looks at you and evaluates your character, whether or not you're suitable to be a disciple, he'll say, okay, this person is actually, he shows this really good character in general, but also he has a really strong tendency to be like in this style or whatever, or this tendency to be very outgoing or very ultimate or very heartful or whatever. So he'll kind of put that name towards you from what he perceives.
That's great. So playing on your strengths,
right? Exactly.
So you've got an important responsibility, because I guess the teaching that he's given you, how much of that is verbal rather than written or recorded on, say, video or audio?
It's all just like you learn it as you go. There's no written stuff. I mean, I'm sure he has his own notes and stuff, and I know he does have like a master book where he has like some notes and stuff like that. But it's all as you go. He'll teach you like one-on-one. This action should be like this, or even like how to teach people. There's like stuff that he'll show me during the class. Okay, now the students are kind of in a messy disorder right now. So what you need to do is to get them in a this certain line-up formation. So for this size of room, you can fit 5 students per line, or like you have to use your own judgment. Okay, so you can only go 2 groups at a time because of the size of the room, or you need to judge based on someone's height and stride. So you can't have someone who steps really far and kicks really far standing beside someone who moves really slow. So it's kind of stuff like, as you're doing this, he'll kind of explain the philosophy of how things work. It's not really written out. There's no like standard documents on this procedure should be done like this or anything like that. Like in a kind of like a Western corporate kind of methodology.
Where it's formalized.
It's more like an apprenticeship. You just kind of like learn as you go.
Correct. And I'm glad your instructions were to pass on the knowledge, right? Because as generations come on, it's very easy to lose the previous knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in charge of that archiving and passing it along, that'll continue the generation as well, right?
Right, and that's his primary goal right now for moving out of Shaolin and coming to North America. So he's trying to keep this tradition alive. I mean, as I mentioned, there's different I guess branches or divisions of Shaolin. So his very traditional defensive and temple guard division, it's getting lost. Like people don't even realize there's a difference, but his art, it's something that he really wants to pass along and keep alive. And the more popular, I guess you can call it contemporary wushu. Like everyone sees it on TV, right? So all the movie stars and stuff like that, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, everyone knows these people, but they're more. There's a lot of stuff that's very stylized. That might look good on screen, but then like for an actual guard, you might not want to do certain actions in a certain way. So I think it's really important to keep that kind of art and that tradition alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its place versus the contemporary thing, which is it's also important, and
sure,
it's a tradition to keep alive as well. But we don't want to lose this other aspect that's centuries old.
Correct. And when you say temple guard, you literally mean guarding the temple?
Yeah. So like, not in the recent history, but in the past years, there've been attacks on the temples and stuff like that, or
Correct.
even like the monks had to defend for the emperors and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's something maybe in the past we'd had to worry more about, like hand-to-hand combat. So there were statues at the actual temple. Like I recently came back from Shaolin in October, and then the statues at the very front of all the gates, you can see like the guards with all the weapons and like scary faces showing them, and that is the sect or the division that my master was part of. So right at the front gates, like holding off any would-be attackers trying to get in and destroy stuff, burn down the temples.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the training that you did with your master, was that in China or here in Canada?
Here in Canada, yeah.
Fully in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And do you go to China for any training, or is it just tournaments?
Yeah, I've only been. This is my first time in this past tournament.
Well, and congratulations, you won gold and bronze, right?
Yes,
that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it was quite an experience. I mean, there are so many. I can't even remember how many countries there are. Like 50 something countries from around the world competing. Okay. And we made so many friends and contacts. So it's good to know that there's people around the world, like every country basically, sending people to represent and just showing us, okay, wow, we've got Kung Fu's well alive in these other countries, and it's good to keep Kung Fu alive and to know that we're doing something that's useful, because Kung Fu is actually not that organized with these competitions and that kind of training. Karate is very organized, so that everywhere you see tournaments and these big medals and stuff like that, people they're very well organized. Like Kung Fu has to kind of pick up the slack and learn something from the karate organizations. But that was a great experience going there.
That's amazing. So what did you win gold for?
It was a hand form, so it's called Xiaohongquan. It means small flooding fist.
Okay. And is that like a fight, or is it just a technique display, or?
Yeah, it's a series of movements, and within the movements there are stances and maneuvers that you'll learn, and within these sequence of movements, there are combinations that you can sort of decipher into like a block and a hit.
Okay.
So it's a way of combining everything into one set of movements so that you can pass it along and say, okay, well, this form's really good for, hand blocks. This form's really good for, really tight maneuvers and stuff like that. So the one I learned was it's really good for practicing a block and strike combination. Like you'll see that maneuver, I think, a dozen times within that form.
Yeah.
So that form is really focused on that action, and even though it looks very simple, I'm just blocking and hitting, but like the most simple actions are actually the most complex. So it took me, I've been doing this form for 10 years, and I still feel like I'm learning something new like all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's such a simple action, blocking and attacking, but there's so many small nuances, like a slight shift in your hip or a slight change in your foot position can have a huge impact on the amount of force you can direct. Correct. Or even like shifting your foot angle has an impact on whether or not, like if you take a strike to your hip, to your leg, whether or not you'll break your knee, or if you shift the angle, you're less likely to have your knee broken when somebody strikes you that way.
So like you're saying, it's simple, like you're talking about it. It might be simple to see, but if it's accumulation of 10 years, and it's organic, so the technique, the more you do, the more you get better at it.
Right.
You can never say, I've finished learning this. Like, the more you do, you're just tweaking, and it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
Many lifetimes it might be required.
Exactly, yeah. Like when I first started learning this, the master was saying that, oh yeah, there's a guy who only did this form for 10 years, and then we were all like 10 years, oh what an idiot. I don't know what he could possibly be doing for 10 years, but now after 10 years, like, oh my god, I'm not even close to being ready for that.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's like I've heard of the sushi chefs. Rice is something they spend maybe 2 years just mastering, right? Something as simple as cooking rice. So That's important to know. And then what did you win bronze for?
It was for Gun, so it's like the wooden staff.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just like one of the it's a basic staff form where you're like doing a lot of defensive twirls and strikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Congrats again, and thanks for bringing that to Canada, right?
Yeah.
It gives status for Canadians and for the art as well.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. So what is a day in the life of someone who's training in the art of Shaolin? Are you waking up at 4 a.m. and having longevity porridge, or what's the scenario like?
No, well, I grew up in North America, obviously, so I never went into that kind of lifestyle, and then I still don't do that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So for me, I still have regular daily routines. I drop my kids off at school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then I will try to fit in wherever I can. I will do stretches. I could be standing there and I'll be doing like some Qigong while I'm waiting for my soup to boil or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's kind of like in North America, you got to fit things in wherever you can.
Yeah.
So stretching is very important to keep the flexibility, and then like different days I'll work on maybe I'll focus on kicks one day, so I'll just go through like a very intense cardio, just practicing like long ranges and like more power, higher kicks, bigger bigger distances and stuff like that. Another day I'll stick on one or two forms and just kind of drill that when I have time. So it depends on my schedule that day.
Correct. So on average, how many hours a day might you dedicate to this craft?
Yeah, like again, it depends on the day. So if I'm really busy, like I'll maybe do only like half an hour of stretching and a couple kicks and stuff like that. But if I have time, I'll do like 2 hours and I'll do stretches, kicks, and then forms and stuff like that. So
yeah, but the goal is every day to do something, right?
Every day, you should be doing something, because like at our age, which
correct.
Is, no, we're not spring chickens anymore. The more you keep up, it's better for you. Even if you don't keep up the hard stuff, Qigong is going to help you as you get older. So I think you do Qigong yourself.
I mean, that's how I found you. I started to get into Qigong, then I came to the Chinese Cultural Center,
right?
And then I saw one of your flyers for an open house workshop, which you do from time to time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for Qigong, it's something that it's not for young kids, because they already have enough qi and energy and stuff like that. But when you start getting into, you get into an older age, you can start using Qigong and building your body for using qi and stuff like that. And as you get really, really old, obviously you're not going to move as fast as you were. Obviously you're not going to be as flexible as you were.
Correct. So young kids, they have the energy. The older you get, you might lose that vitality, right? So you're trying to sort of summon it back.
Right. So it's kind of like compensating for your body losing flexibility and maybe not moving as fast. So Qigong is going to help you, and it's also something that you can you don't want to harm kids with, because there's a hard Qigong that you can get into where you're breaking stuff on your body, or like you're trying to put a spear against your throat that some people do, or put spears around your body and put your whole weight into it. So that's something that you don't want to harm kids with.
Correct.
But also as your body ages, like I said, you're not able to do the physical stuff as well, but Qigong is going to keep you healthy. Yeah. So within Qigong, as I said, there's like the hard Qigong, which is like breaking stuff, but also Qigong is really there's a lot of internal benefits that are going on as you're doing Qigong, because of the deep breathing, the abdominal breathing. Yeah. It's really in a North American sense, you're pumping your blood. Really, you're helping your body to get more oxygen to your muscles, through all your organs, and I guess your whole body, by doing this deep breathing. Yeah. So even if you do a lot less of the physical stuff, you can still do Qigong, keep yourself healthy and strong. And with Qi, if you're able to control your Qi and manipulate your body, you can actually still be powerful. You can still control people, or you can push people with, within a certain degree, using your Qi or balance. Qi is not just like energy; it's also like about using your force and balance. So if you can control your body in a more not physical sense, but more organic internal sense, and that's something that you want to transition to as you get older. So
to being in harmony with life force.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then obviously the internal benefits, like all your organs, as you age, in this day and age, as we sit more in front of the computer screens and stuff like that, or sit watching TV, our bodies are actually, it's doing harm to your body. But Qigong is actually exercising stuff internally that you don't do from just sitting there. Correct. So it'll keep your liver, spleen, stomach, heart, legs, even your eyes you're exercising, your lungs, everything is being benefited.
Correct. So then I just wanted to ask you quick. So when I came to the workshop, you had tried some moves on me.
Yeah.
And me being a complete beginner in Kung Fu, that was powerful. I totally felt strength. And this was not just regular strength. So how much of the strength that you give out would you say is maybe just, from going to the gym versus Qi?
Well, the stuff that I was demonstrating on you is more physics and mechanics.
Okay.
So it's part of understanding the body and how things move. So I was leveraging your body weight against you, and then your joints against you. Really. Oh, wow. So it's not. It doesn't require a lot of Qi for that. You just have to push in the right points, and then you push or pull in the right points, and then move someone. Understanding that you being bigger than me, if I pull you in the right way, you will start falling in the way that I want you to.
You're making me fight me, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. I know we've got a couple of minutes left. I just quickly wanted to ask you: do you follow any form of nutrition or food that you watch, or?
I try not to eat too much junk food. I mean, obviously I have kids and they love chips and popcorn and stuff like that. Sure. So I'll take a nibble once in a while. But I try to eat clean and not get into that stuff. I don't really avoid a lot of things. I don't eat too much deep fried stuff. I just eat regular food. I'll not eat so many carbs. I'll concentrate on the proteins and vegetables and stuff like that.
Sure.
For myself, I'm on kind of like it's called intermittent fasting.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's a Western thing.
Yeah.
It's the Western thing, but it's also like if you think about energy input output, I just need to eat what I need to eat to be able to do what I do during the day. So I try not to overindulge myself, because I know that if I'm going to pay for it. Correct. So if I go to a buffet and then I'm just eating all the donuts or or eating all the naan, or eating all the what's it called, spring rolls and stuff like that. Yeah. It tastes great, and then within a couple hours, oh my god, I regret this so much. So I know my own body now.
Yeah.
So I try to eat things that are gonna not cause my own suffering.
Correct. Yes, you're putting enough gas in the car that requires you to get to where you need to be, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thanks for this. I mean, we can go hours and hours, touching on different points of Kung Fu, the forms, the techniques, the philosophy, the history. Just Qigong is a different podcast in itself.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Speaking more about your master and his traditions. And I'm sure in the future we'll try to do some more and, follow-ups to this.
Yeah.
So just finally, for our listeners, if they want to find you, how can they get access to you? And if you can just give a quick spiel just for the classes that you do as well.
Okay, so I'm teaching out of the Markham Head School, which is CanadaShaolinTemple.com. Within that website, you'll also find our other branches, and I'm in the Scarborough branch. Is my second location. Okay. So Markham primarily, and then now I'm just starting out in Scarborough. So within the same website, or you can go to STQI Scarborough.com. Is my own sub-site, but it's all within it's all linked together. So if you visit me on any of those, you'll find me, or you'll find our school. So within our school, we have traditional Kung Fu classes. We have Qigong. We have gentle Kung Fu, which is it's a subset of the traditional classes, but it's more low impact for people who have reasons to be in a low impact class. So maybe they don't want something so hard, or maybe they have joint problems.
Correct.
But it is going through a lot of the same philosophy as the traditional class, but only focusing on the the breathing, the coordination, balance, and stuff like that. And then we also have boxing fitness and self-defense, which is the class that you came to last time.
Yeah.
So that's more cardio intense. It's more fun. So it's like all ages, and it's doing the boxing and kicking drills that we do in the regular class, plus some self-defense maneuvers, so you can understand, some simple concepts of how to get yourself out of some sticky situations.
Yeah, that's great, and I recommend anyone going to that class, please wear loose, comfortable clothing. Because I didn't. I thought we were going to be practicing forms, and I got a full cardio workout. It was amazing. And just finally, to end off, what is your favorite animal in terms of the kung fu form? Is it crane, tiger? What would you say?
We actually don't focus on the animals in our school. Yeah, so our master, he's known for his eagle form, and I guess that's the most famous animal that we do. Is
the eagle
form. But we focus on more traditional, like not animal style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So that's another topic on another day.
Another topic, yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much for doing this. I wish you all the best success in the future, and I hope people will tune in and at least take something that they can practice in their daily lives. And like we were saying, even if it's for a minute or 5 minutes a day, that's enough to set the tone for your whole day and just make things better overall.
Great. Well, thanks for coming by.
Pleasure. Anytime. Thanks.